Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. We've got a new review. This one is Rey Mysterio #1 from Chido Comics. Picked it up at San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be the first review of the numerous comics we picked up from San Diego Comic-Con. And this one is the debut of the Luchaverse. Now, for those who don't know, luchadors are a type of masked wrestler. Comes out of Mexico. Very, very popular now. My experience with the luchadors is basically WCW. It was Rey Mysterio, Konan, kind of like when that wrestling organization was bringing all those wrestlers in. So, I don't really have tons of, love of the luchadors. Like, they were great, absolutely entertaining, but, it's not like I'm watching that specific type of wrestling, and honestly, I haven't watched wrestling in, 20 years. So, overall, I am familiar with the characters and the people, personalities, but overall, it's not something like I'm a diehard wrestling fan diving into this. There's also a great documentary about luchadors. You should really go check that out. I don't know if it's on Netflix or whatever. Absolutely fantastic, well worth watching. So this is a hell of a team putting this together. We got story and script by Marco Lopez and Ivan Plaza, pencil and inks by Ben Harvey, colors by Bryan Magnaye, cover artist Ben Harvey, letters Micah Myers, executive producers Kevin Kleinrock and Ruben Zamora, editor Ivan Plaza. Luchaverse is created by Marco Lopez and Ivan Plaza, and Kevin Kleinrock and Ruben Zamora. So basically, what Chido Comics is doing here, and all these creators, is putting together a comic universe starring all these luchadores. So Rey Mysterio is first. Lucha Brothers is another, I think they are. I don't know those ones at all. Konan, who I knew from WCW days, is going to have a comic book series. I don't remember who else is going to be part of it. But there's going to be this big interlocking universe that, if you are a fan of these wrestlers and characters, you're probably going to love it. And this one kicks off with Rey Mysterio. I mean, Rey Mysterio, I would say, as far as in the U.S., is definitely one of the biggest luchadors that are out there, one of the masked wrestlers. Pretty huge. He kind of even transcended WCW. I mean, he was all over the place. Really, really talented and amazing wrestler and really entertaining. So basically, the story is kind of I don't want to say it's kind of like an origin of Rey Mysterio in a way. We get to see some of his history, but what we find out is that he is the latest in basically this Protectors. We don't quite know what the Mysterios are really supposed to do. We just know that there's this this mysterious mask in this temple that they're supposed to go to. We find out later what the mask actually does, and it's kind of it's like the birth of the superhero. It's entertaining. I mean, basically, there's tons of comics out there. And there's a lot of other wrestling comics that have taken various different tracks in how they present the characters, and this one is more of take these characters, throw them in kind of an action story as opposed to focusing them on wrestling track. It's an adventure. As far as the first issue, quality-wise, it's pretty good. I mean, there's some slight choppiness issues to it. You really are kind of thrown in the mix of things, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You kind of have to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and as it goes through, everything becomes a bit more clearer. There are a couple things that I still think were left out there hanging, and hopefully they're explained more in the second, third, and fourth issues, everything to come. But, generally, you're definitely thrown in the deep end of this one, and I think maybe I would have done a couple things a little bit different as far as the plotting, laying things out, maybe explaining some things here and there. But generally, this is really entertaining. I mean, you're coming into this, if you're really buying this, you're probably a fan of Rey Mysterio, you're probably a fan of luchadors, and you just want to see them kind of kicking butt and having some fun. It's also what's really interesting in this is it doesn't kind of overplay the wrestling aspect of it. It's not like Rey Mysterio is running around and giving body slams to people, or jumping off trees like he's doing the moonsault or something like that. That so far has been kept to a minimum. There's not really any of that. I think there's maybe some fighting where someone does an MMA move. That's about it. But it's not that type of thing where they're just fitting in wrestling moves that it just kind of feels forced in as opposed to some natural aspect of the story. So that way I think it's actually really good. I mean, basically they're taking wrestling characters and throwing them in an action film, which is totally fine and really entertaining in that way. So the art is good. I dig the style. Go off a little bit, show you some of it. So that's them just kind of getting thrown into this fight in South America. You can see some more of that with a little bit of a flashback to Rey Mysterio. You can kind of get an idea of him there. Yeah, this is about as much of the wrestling, kind of this taken through Rey Mysterio through the moves here. That's like the most wrestling in the comic. So, you know, this is a good start. It actually gets me intrigued to see what else is being done. I wasn't sure what was coming. You know, I knew there's this Luchaverse. I didn't quite know what type of stories we should expect. And now I think I've got a better idea, and it's going to be entertaining. This is not what I expected. This isn't like other wrestling comics where it's kind of going kayfabe and walking through their lives and stuff like that. Instead, this is, as I said before, these characters, these wrestlers thrown into action films. Which totally works. It's totally okay. I highly recommend it. I actually think it's really good like that. So overall, like, I'm impressed with the first issue. I think it's really good. As I said, I bought this at San Diego Comic-Con. It should be in some stores now, and I think rolling out over time. I think you can buy it online. If so, we'll have a link to that so you can usually purchase it. And, you know, I recommend this. I think if you are a fan of these wrestlers, these characters, really want to see where this goes, go for it. I think the other thing that's really nice is that, I don't know how properly it is. Latinx, is that the best way of saying it? These are characters for people that aren't necessarily, like, you know, white males like myself. You know, Latin characters are not starring in a lot of comics. Things are getting a little bit better, but to see an entire universe embracing this wrestling style from Mexico, which is such an unpopular thing and is so important there as far as entertainment, I think is absolutely fantastic. So to you know, Justin birth of a universe that's really focused on something that we don't see too often in the U.S. as far as mainstream comics. You know, I gotta throw massive props there, and I'm really looking forward to what everyone does as far as this. Again, if you really don't know about luchadores, there is I can't think of the name of the documentary, but there's actually a fantastic documentary out there that takes you through it, really walks you through how important this is to Mexican culture, wrestling in general, and how huge it is. So definitely, like, watch that at a minimum. I think you watch that documentary, you're going to want to check out this comic afterwards and really appreciate it. It's not just about the wrestling. There's a whole bunch about kind of the entertainment aspect of it, the storylines, the flair is the best way of putting it. So to see this comic kind of take that sort of route, absolutely fantastic. I think this is going to be a really fun thing to check out, and really look forward to seeing what all the other comics are going to be coming down the line. So, as I said, you should be able to get this in maybe some comic shops. Definitely ask your comic shop first and foremost. Like, always support your comic shops. We're going to leave the link underneath to go and put your zip code to find out if a shop's near you. I know this is rolling out into shops. You can get online. Some are carrying it. There's like around where the creators are. So it'll be easier to get, and we'll have a link on this video and this post to where you can just purchase it, hopefully directly from everybody. So other than that, like, yeah, I mean, if you're into comics, you can check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.